felt like a warm hug. It felt like coming home. I love him. I love him. Thank God I am done with Order of the Phoenix. He is really under the impression that someone is trying to kill him. Obviously, we know that that is actually the case. And I have to say, like, this was not my favorite read so far. Guys, I think it's time. Hi all, my name is Allison. Welcome back to my channel. And as a 26-year-old girl, this is going to be the first time I ever read the Harry Potter series. Now, obviously, I'm not completely like in the dark with the Harry Potter series. Like, I have watched every single movie at least once all the way through. It's probably a little too late in life to try and become completely obsessed with the Harry Potter world, considering it's been out for so long. The whole world has been revolving around Harry Potter, and I feel like I've been left in the dust. And I honestly don't even know the reason why. A little bit of it was probably because when I was younger, I wasn't that much of a reader, and chapter books in particular like really scared me in the 3rd grade. I just feel like as someone who loves to read as much as I do, I cannot go another year without really diving into the Harry Potter series. The fact that I've read more Hermione fanfiction in my lifetime than any Harry Potter book is absurd. Because I've read book 1 before, I have decided I'm going to at least listen to the first book on audio just to get through it a little bit quicker. Believe it or not, like, the audiobook is just so entertaining. Currently, I am 51% into Harry Potter and the Sorcerer of Stone. To build a world like this and completely immerse you in the first 50% is just so amazing. Like, there are so many like minor details that she thought of to make this world feel so different. I feel like in the movies they did a really good job of showing like people being obsessed with Harry. In the books, I feel like it makes you understand more that like this child had absolutely no idea that he was anything special until he found the wizarding world. People adore him in a way that he would never feel with the Dursleys. I'm having a really easy time of like taking that out of my mind and not thinking about the movie as much, and really start to envision what I think Hogwarts and these characters and how certain things would look in my own head, and not like base everything that I have, all my knowledge, based off the movie. I want to make a guess and say like which book I think will be my favorite just based off like the movies. Obviously, Prisoner of Azkaban is going to be really good. I do love Half-Blood Prince a lot, so maybe Half-Blood Prince might be my favorite book. Who's to say? Alright, so I'm about 81% done with Harry Potter and the Sorcerer of Stone. And I have to say, like, although there aren't many differences from this book to the movie, there are like a little bit of like smaller scenes scattered throughout the book that obviously weren't in the movie, and I find them so entertaining. I feel like Harry, Ron, and Hermione got into more mischief in the book than they did in the first movie. I feel like the movies obviously did show just how much of a bully Draco was. I feel like in the book, it's just so much worse. Like, he is truly such a freaking menace. I like to see more of Neville and how, even though he is very cowardice sometimes, that when the time calls for it, he can be very brave and worthy of the Gryffindor name, if you will. But yeah, I think I should be able to finish this book today. I am officially done with book 1 of the Harry Potter series. Okay, I know that I've read this book before, and at the time I wasn't really super interested because they were 11 and I was 16. And I thought it was too cool for this. I really did enjoy book 1. It felt like a warm hug. It felt like coming home. I will say though, as far as anything that I haven't read before, like I felt like this book was pretty accurate to the movies. There weren't any like surprises that I hadn't seen before. So it was a little easier to get through this one because I already knew like the plot and of events. But I am very excited for Chamber of Secrets. Chamber of Secrets is one of my top movies, believe it or not. Maybe it's because Tom Riddle is so hot. Who is to freaking say? But I am excited to see that. I know Dobby comes in this book, which is going to be fun. I'm on the fence on whether I should read this one too or if I should listen to it. But I think I might actually pick this one up and actually read it because one, it's a pretty short book. I feel like I can get through it pretty quickly, but also just like I want to be able to highlight things. When I saw that Deathly Hallows was almost 800 pages. Like we might have to do a hybrid situation in which we're listening for some chapters and we're reading for others because I just don't know how I'm going to get through that quickly, but we'll see. Now that I finished the first book, I am going to go into Chamber of Secrets. I did read a little bit today, and by a little, I mean like a little. Pretty sure I only got 6% in. Oh, got 8% in. Now I'm like actually really in the mood to like bake cookies for some reason. So I'm going to try and listen to a little bit of the audiobook while I bake. Mimi, can you move? But I'm going to go ahead and go into Chamber of Secrets. I'm on chapter 3. Okay, so while prepping the cookies, I got to 14% of Chamber of Secrets. I just love this movie so much. So that's why I was so excited to read this book. The scene where they basically help Harry escape the Dursleys in the flying car is so ingrained in my brain. I feel like that when I think of Harry Potter, like I think of that scene. And so I was really excited to pick this one back up. And we get a little bit more about Draco and his family, which is going to be interesting, I think, to read because it is a pretty popular opinion to have sympathy for Draco. And obviously in the beginning, these first 2 books, he's just like a heinous 11-year-old. But for so many people to be sympathetic over Draco by the end of this series, I want to really look out and see like the undercurrent of his character and really try and understand like where he comes from as far as like the way he acts. So I'm going to be looking out for that as well. Also, why do I feel like summer with the Weasleys would just be so fun? That's the house people go to when they want to hang out all together. Currently wishing that I was doing summer with the Weasleys. So it's been about over a week since the last time I updated. I actually just like haven't had a lot of time to read, but I did finally finish Harry Potter in the Chamber of Secrets. And I'll be honest, even though I said that I really do love this movie, I had a hard time like finishing this one up only because, and maybe this is like actually a compliment to the people who made the movies, but like this was literally word for word and scene by scene of this movie. So honestly, there was nothing that was like super surprising or different. Not that I was bored per se. It was just like I wasn't in a rush or a hurry to like gobble this up because the movie was so accurate to this book. So yeah, I'm done with Chamber of Secrets. I am going to immediately hop into Prisoner of Azkaban, which I'm really excited to read because we know who does show up in Prisoner of Azkaban. The Prisoner of Azkaban himself, believe it or not. Let's go into Prisoner of Azkaban. I am actually so sorry. I flew through Prisoner of Azkaban so quick that I was unable to film a singular update due to me finishing it. I think the fastest out of the entire series thus far. But I did take notes on some things that I wanted to discuss. Okay, number one. The night bus is so iconic. I love the Prisoner of Azkaban movie, and I feel like they did the night bus so well in the movie, like compared to how it was described in the book, other than it was supposed to be purple. I can't remember if it's purple in the movie or not. Like in my head, I'm not seeing purple, so probably not. Unless it's like a super dark purple, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Number two, this is probably the most important point I'll make. Remus Lupin is the best character in this freaking series. I've stood by that for so long, and now that I have read the book, I am still standing by that. The way that he takes Harry in and actually teaches him defense against the dark arts, like could you imagine year 3 and Harry's finally figuring out how to defend himself against the dark arts? Unfathomable. I do have a soft spot for a werewolf, I have to say, but there is just something about that man. I love him. I love him. And the fact that he was besties with James Potter, so he feels a deeper connection with Harry due to that relationship that he had with his father. Obsessed. Okay, so this is actually a plot point that wasn't thoroughly explored in the movies. How intelligent Crookshanks is so funny to me. Crookshanks, if you're unaware, is Hermione's cat. Crookshanks was literally the mastermind throughout the entire book, and you didn't know until the end. Like, you just didn't know. Like, make Crookshanks the freaking valedictorian of Hogwarts, and I'll say it again, he is the valedictorian. And lastly, this actually kind of made me tear up, and it's obviously because I am obsessed with Sirius Black and his relationship with Harry moving forward. But when he wrote Harry and signed his permission slip so that he could go to Hogsmeade, literally brought tears to my freaking eyes. But I am excited to start Goblet of Fire, obviously because I'm obsessed with Cedric Diggory, who isn't. But I've also heard that this is the one book that is the most different than how the movie portrayed it. So I'm excited to actually have fresh new content. But now let's move into Goblet of Fire. So it is finally the weekend, therefore I have a lot of time to really dive into Goblet of Fire. Now I'm at around 22%. I just got through basically the first part of the book where they go to the Quidditch World Cup. I have discovered that I genuinely just don't care about any of the Quidditch scenes. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad that Harry has a hobby. When she is describing play by play of what's going on in these Quidditch games, I just can't find myself to care at all. Now we're getting to the part where they're actually going back to Hogwarts. Obviously there is this big secret, this big thing that's going to be happening this year at Hogwarts, and Harry and the gang just don't know what is going to happen yet. But obviously we know we're doing the full Triwizard, whatever the frick it's called. I honestly don't remember. This has been ages since I've seen Goblet of Fire. Now I'm going to make myself read until 50%. I'm putting my phone away and we're diving in to Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So unfortunately, I did not get to 50%, but I did get to 45%. And right now, Harry is gearing up for the first challenge in the Triwizard Tournament, and he is really under the impression that someone is trying to kill him. Obviously, we know that that is actually the case. It's actually so hard to read this right now because Ron is being such a brat and will not speak to Harry because he's so jealous of him. Bless his freaking heart. I need them to go ahead and make up because I'm tired of Harry being super sad. It's distracting him from the wizard tournament. And also, I just find it so sad that the entire school is against him. Like, nobody is rooting for him. It's just funny that he was a hero and someone that people celebrated for the first 3 years of him at Hogwarts, and now because he got something that others did not, they're turning against him. It's so oof. I am excited to get into the tournament. I feel like that's when this book will start picking up. Right now, I'm not bored, I would say. I'm just like ready and anticipating things to start like getting more dangerous and getting more entertaining, if you will. And I feel like that starts once the Triwizard Tournament starts. So all right, so I am officially at 50% of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. We just got past the first competition in the Triwizard Tournament. And I'll be honest, once again, I feel like if there's anything that is like more action-packed than the usual, I kind of tend to glaze over. Understand that Harry did go ahead and call forth his firebolt to use the broom to like distract the dragon and get the egg, but unfortunately, like, I cannot picture that in my mind's eye at all. But the good thing is Harry and Ron are now friends again. They have mended that little tiff that they've been going through. Ron realized that, hey, like, Harry probably did not want to put himself into imminent danger like this, and that maybe someone is trying to sabotage him. Starting to pick up, and I'm starting to really enjoy it. So I am officially at 74% of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire audiobook, and I have some thoughts. Obviously, this book is almost 700 pages, and so there clearly was some things that were missed in the movies. But honestly, like, I feel like there is a whole storyline that got completely nipped that could have been beneficial to the plot. At the beginning of this book, we see a lot of mistreatment to the house elves. One storyline in particular that just wasn't in the movies that is very prevalent in this book specifically is that Hermione is literally fighting tooth and nail to get freedom for these house elves, or at least get them to get paid wages. And it's become like this whole ordeal. And honestly, I think that it actually could have added a lot to the plot and added a lot more to Hermione's character in the movies. Also, in the movie, Neville Longbottom is the one who helps Harry figure out how to breathe underwater in the second challenge for the Triwizard Tournament. And it turns out it was actually Dobby who was the one who did that. And I feel like they did a discredit to Dobby's character by not letting him, one, be in the movie, two, be a crucial part of saving Harry Potter. All right, team, so I officially finished Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and I have to say, like, this was not my favorite read so far. I felt like this one really dragged, and yes, like, the content and the plot of it was entertaining. It almost felt like it just didn't need to be as long as it was. I will say, though, I did enjoy, like, all of the little quirks that were different from the movies. So that was fun. Where I feel like we're getting into those books in which things start to change a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I know everyone talks about how much they love Goblet of Fire. And like I said, I didn't hate it, but I think I enjoyed Chamber of Secrets more randomly. But now I am on the Order of the Phoenix. I'm really excited to read this one because I know this is when Harry starts to like get into this leadership role in which like he's kind of taking like an active position trying to defeat Voldemort. I have a feeling that this is when some of the romance starts to spark, maybe a little bit, fingers crossed. So now we're going into the Order of the Phoenix.
Said moodily at the ground. He would not be able to hide in the Dursleys' tomorrow he would have to think of some fresh way of listening to the news.
I mean this so wholeheartedly. Thank God I am done with Order of the Phoenix. You guys, I don't know what she was doing writing this book, but it was a stream of consciousness. It had no business being as long as it was. I was dragging my feet trying to get this book done. I honestly think this might be the worst one in the series, not only because you know who dies, I won't say, yes I will, Sirius Black, we love you so much. Obviously that is a painful moment in this book, but other than that, nothing in this book did anything for me. Why was this audiobook 24 hours? I just felt like there were a lot of just unnecessary, super drawn out scenes that just did nothing for the plot. For example, why did we spend a whole chapter of Harry taking his OWLs? We sat there and watched him take tests. I was getting really frustrated with this book because I just felt like there was so much potential to have a lot of like good plot. And it was just kind of like they're having trouble in school. And Harry was mad and furious and angry and mean to everyone. All of his friends, anyone who would want it to listen. Like he was just angry all the time. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't. I gave it 3 stars. I will never read that again. Thank you so much. But now I'm moving on Half-Blood Prince, praying for a redemption. I need something to grasp onto at this point because I am fading. But let's hope that things turn around, okay? All right, let's dive in. I am officially at 45% of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Thank God, you guys. This book is actually getting so good, and I'm actually feeling more invested in this book than I have been in the last 2. And obviously that is because we're getting a little bit of romance. Sue me, that is just what I live for. And Harry is finally starting to notice that maybe he has feelings for Ginny. I will say, like, in the movies, I didn't really understand the attraction that Harry had to Ginny. It didn't really make sense to me. I feel like they kind of just fell together. But this one, you get to see his like inner monologue where he's getting jealous that she's dating other boys and is having these like weird dreams about telling Ron that he's like with his sister. Anyway, I'm eating it up. Also, the tension between Ron and Hermione is finally heating up here. Like, it is so obvious that they're into each other that even Harry, who most of the time is clueless about these things, was able to notice. So clearly something is afoot, okay? Something is brewing, and I am so excited to see this. I'm also really enjoying how much Harry and Dumbledore are having some alone time in this book. As we're starting to get to know Tom Riddle before he was Voldemort, I'm finding it very interesting. And I'm also really enjoying, as we know, the last moments that we'll get with Dumbledore. So I am so glad that Harry is getting this like one-on-one time with him before his untimely death. Rest his soul, God bless. So I officially finished Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And I gotta say, I did really enjoy this read, but why did I feel like there was gonna be more like expressive emotions for when Dumbledore died? And I feel like the only like deep-rooted emotions that we've seen from Harry has been like complete and utter anger, which was in Order of the Phoenix. After Sirius died, it kind of just felt like, not that it was swept under the rug, like he was clearly sad, but there was no descriptive emotions of how horrible he felt. I could argue that the death of Dumbledore probably affected him more than Sirius's death. So the fact that Dumbledore dies, they have a funeral, and like that's that. It kind of just like rubs me the wrong way because Dumbledore obviously was like a very important character in this entire series. And I kind of just felt like his death, while we did mourn him slightly, kind of just like didn't matter. Maybe that's me just trying to like project wanting to have a complete 30 paragraph monologue of how much Harry is like hurting. But I did enjoy the book. I think it might be probably top 3 of the series so far. And I'm officially about 8 to 9-ish% into Deathly Hallows. And obviously we had 2 major deaths in the beginning, and that is Hedwig, rest in peace, our queen, and Mad-Eye Moody, who also is a very important death within the Order of the Phoenix. Now, I know that this book has a lot of horrible character deaths, and like Will is going to cause a lot of pain. But once again, due to seeing how Dumbledore's death was handled, I'm just like not sure I'm going to be feeling any type of like crying emotional feelings. Okay, we are 64% into Deathly Hallows, but it actually has been a lot of plot that has been going on. At the moment, we are searching for Horcruxes so that we can defeat Voldemort, and we just did find out about the Deathly Hallows. And unfortunately, we just did also experience a very untimely death of one of our favorite beloved characters, Dobby. To be honest, I feel like Harry has grieved and shown more emotion with the death of Dobby than he did with Sirius Black or Dumbledore. You can viscerally feel his like anger and need to try and like distract himself from actually thinking about the death of Dobby, and it's really sad. It's so sad. I feel like the Deathly Hallows movies are very vague in my brain. I'm reading things that I totally forgot about, and so the reading experience has been just a little bit better. I'm still tracking. I'm really hoping I can get it done by the end of this week. We're getting very close to the battle at Hogwarts, so I'm hoping that I can get there soon because I do feel like I need a little bit of action. As my memory serves, Deathly Hallows Part 1 is actually the most boring movie in the entire Harry Potter series, so we're kind of getting to the end of Deathly Hallows Part 1 and moving into Deathly Hallows Part 2, which is obviously more action-packed, the climax of this entire story. So I'm hoping I can get there soon and be completely enthralled. I have officially finished the entire Harry Potter series, and it only took me 2 months. I would say that the overall experience of reading the Harry Potter series for the very first time at 26 years old was a bit of a letdown. There were some books and moments that I really enjoyed, but for the most part, I feel like I was very underwhelmed. Now, this could be because I already know the entire plot of every single book because I've seen the movies, but I was kind of hoping that the books would fill in the gaps that the movies did not. And unfortunately, like I feel like the movies did a better job at explaining some things than even the books did. I know myself, and usually books that don't have a lot of romance do tend to lose my attention a little bit more, but I did have hopes that maybe Harry Potter would not feel that way to me because of how precious the storyline and the characters are for me. I wanted and was expecting more emotion coming from Harry, and that just like wasn't the case. Now, some things that I really enjoyed. I think that the world building was phenomenal. All of the adventures, all the mischief that these characters got into was so enchanting, very magical, I will say. Like, I think that this world is so unique in its own right. Another thing that I actually really enjoyed is the consistent jokes that kind of ran throughout the series. Number one, my favorite joke from the beginning of this entire series was just everybody bashing on Percy. I also really enjoyed that even though Harry was a literal child, he was never afraid of Voldemort. He knew his strength and he trusted so many people around him that he felt like there was no need to realistically, seriously be afraid of Voldemort. And I think that is what made him so different from everybody else. So now I'm going to rank all of the books in this series from worst to best. Coming in last place would have to be Order of the Phoenix. Unfortunately, it was just one entirely way too long and just so boring. Coming in number 6, and this is going to be very controversial, is going to be The Goblet of Fire. Look, it did not hit the way I wanted it to hit. It honestly took way too long for us to get to the climax of that book that I honestly was finding myself being really bored. Number 5 is going to be Harry Potter and the Sorcerer of Stone. Because it's the first one in the series, it does just lack that familiarity that you have with all of the other characters. And for that, I'm going to have to put it at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Deathly Hallows. Once again, entirely way too long for the content that we got. There was nothing wrong with the book other than I was a little bored at times, but it did have some elements that I really enjoyed, and there were some elements that I literally could care less about. Number 3, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I enjoyed the pacing of it. I enjoyed, we're doing year 2 at Hogwarts. I just enjoyed getting a lot of that backstory of where Voldemort came from. All right, going into top 2. Number 2 on my list is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Coming off Order of the Phoenix, the bar could not have been any lower, but I think that Half-Blood Prince really revived the series for me. I was really close to calling it quits after Order of the Phoenix, I have to say. But I think that Half-Blood Prince really revived me in that sense. I enjoyed how mature they were. I enjoyed all of the things that kind of are putting the pieces into place to get that finale that we get in Deathly Hallows. And obviously, it should come to no surprise that Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is the best book in the entire series. I think this is one that I actually was itching to keep reading. Overall, it's just so good. And I am a sucker for a werewolf at the end of the day. So the fact that we get introduced to werewolves in that book, I think also puts it at the top. It's also the time where Harry meets his godfather and it's starting to feel that found family that he's been so thoroughly searching for. And so for that, Prisoner of Azkaban is my number 1 in the Harry Potter series. Well, guys, that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Do not be afraid to tell me your deepest, darkest thoughts about my opinions of this book. I am needing maybe a resurrection, maybe needing some convincing that maybe these books are better than I thought. I will leave social media links down below. I have Instagram, TikTok, my podcast, my Goodreads. So be sure to check out those if you don't mind. But for now, bye guys.